So one of the things I have seen with clients in the past, or even in the very recent past, is disputes between shareholders or director shareholders in SME businesses. And it happens much more than you might think it happens, because as much as people buy people when you're trying to grow and develop your business, it's also quite true that people fall out with people as well. And when that happens, then what happens to the business, what happens to your clients, and what happens to your employees in that business? And so I've seen the impact, first of all, of business partners falling out, and that leads to large legal fees, a long period of time, a number of months, maybe arguing, disagreeing, the business drifting, while they get to a point where they finally decide what they're going to do. And I've also seen the very positive, where there is something in place that allows them to have their dispute, either resolve it, or one or other party exits in a very structured and organised way. And the answer to that is really having a shareholders agreement in place. Because remember, when you start working together with somebody, you may think you know them, but it's only when you work with them that you find out exactly everything you need to know about them. Or in some cases, you start a business with a business partner who decides to exit, but maybe they retain a small share as a sense of goodwill between you. But then later on, when you're coming to make a major decision, or perhaps sell or exit the business, that very old historical 5% old shareholder can have a real impact on your business if your relationship isn't as good as it was, or if they're on the other side of the world and you haven't planned for managing that decision with them. So my answer is always to have that discussion with business owners at an early stage and go through the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if the other happens? Because if you've got that shareholders agreement in place, then if the what if happens, you've identified the period of time you need to have between you to negotiate an exit. You know what you're going to value the business at because you've gone through the process of how to collate those valuations. You'll know when those payment dates are due. You'll have an agreement around where the funding comes from. It's everything that could be quite personal, quite sensitive during the course of a dispute becomes a bit easier because you've agreed it beforehand. So my advice is always to think about the negative, because what it'll do, it'll help support and continue your business growth in a consistent way should the worst happen. So if you want to talk about shareholders agreements in a little bit more detail, feel free to let me know, and I can help you draft or put an idea together around what are the kind of issues you need to think about at the time